What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Big News Podcast with me, your host, Paul Hughes. Today's guest is CEO and owner of That Prize Guy. They are the number one. I was gonna say one of the best prize competitions in UK and Ireland, but they are absolutely the number one right now. Paul, I think, is a very inspiring story. I think he has a lot of value to bring to our listeners. I think that, especially coming up here from where we're from, like young entrepreneurs, young business owners, successful entrepreneurs, and successful business owners can get and learn a lot from listening to Paul's story. So our guest today is Mr. Paul Harkin, my good friend.
100%.
Paul, what's the crack?
All good, mate. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
Looking forward to this. So
Yes.
let's see where we
So
go.
I just seen you a few days ago. We were at the Lewis Crocker fight
We were.
with Paddy Donovan. That obviously a big night for Belfast, big night for Lewis. We were obviously Team Lewis that night, but a big night, obviously, for the boxing scene and just SSE. It's always good, but it was a big night for yourself as well because you just recently done a deal with Matchroom, which I know is something that you were working for
Yeah.
for a long time, and I kind of just thought it was a really good vibe. They obviously sorted you out with your box and these things, but I thought it was a really nice thing to see, like, you getting that deal done, something that you've been working for a long time, and then to like see you being with all your mates and all of your like inner circle, and then like kind of outer circle, like business partners, all like congregate together for this event. Like, looking back on that event now on Saturday night, like what's your thoughts and feelings around it?
It's mad because the Matchroom deal was obviously something that I've been working on for a long time, but the timing of it was unbelievable. Literally the day before the press conference with Crocker and Donovan, I'd signed a deal with Matchroom like that day, and it was just timing was just it wasn't set up to be that way.
Oh, really?
So it's
Interesting.
something I have been working on for a long time, and it would been in the works, and the agreements were pretty much sent to me the day before that press conference. So that was all really, it was like a whirlwind, happened really quickly. Sign the paperwork, pay the invoice, and then next day is here at press conference, go up, meet Eddie, do the introduction. He announced the sponsorship in a really cool way and stuff as well. So it was class, but it's quite strange how it worked out that my first PFL event was signed about a week before it was in Belfast as well. So exactly the same setup. Me and all my best friends went to the PFL event. So that box in the Odyssey is one that we have anyway for work. So big events like that, it's nice that I can bring people to it. Now, initially I'd set aside 10 tickets for the fight last weekend, and then it was 15, then it was 20, and then it was like, here, I need 30 tickets. And you met a lot of them, like, so it was unreal. Like, in that box was like people that I hold close to me, people that I respect a lot, and there was nobody there that shouldn't have been there. So it was class to be able to share that moment with them. Now, we had a bit of a dispute because obviously we were only given a certain amount of the ringside tickets, and I'd initially obviously promised one to you. You got your own, and then Big P, he was supposed to come too. So Matty, Darryl, and Marky were all fighting it out about who was going to get the ringside seats. So me and Palmer were going down, and then obviously Paddy showed up late. So I had see just before he had walked into the box, I'd said to Matty and Marky, I was
No.
"You're going to have to come down." And then Paddy walked in, and I was like, "Sorry, he's here, so he's going to take the seats." But like being able to share those moments, not just with my friends, obviously a large part of it is down to the guys that work with me too. Like, it was all good. I'd made a lot of accomplishments on my own, but now I have a really strong team around me that enables me to push the business in that direction. You know, I can concentrate on growing it on that side of things because they take care of the day-to-day stuff that I don't have the time to do anymore. I spent 4 years doing it, so now I'm getting to enjoy pushing us in the other directions, and I know that it's in good hands with the team I have behind me. It's
Yeah.
cool, like.
I think that's something that's like really fascinating about your business and how you run your business is like the fact that you have like all your closest mates run it with you, and it's something that I really want to get into that later
100%,
in the
yeah.
episode.
Cool.
But I want to take us right back. Something that I'm really fascinated to know is like obviously how you become the person that you are today.
Okay.
But I love to ask the question like, what were you like? What were you like in school? Because the reason I ask this, I think it's school. It's obviously what are you like as a kid? Yeah, you're in different environments, but I'm curious to know what you're like in school, like around other people. Like, are you the popular kid? Are
Yeah,
you like,
I think
are you a wee dick? Like,
I think a bit of both. Like I always pushed the boundaries in school. Like I was not, I wasn't always top of the class, but I wasn't. You know, I knew my levels. I always thought I knew I had the right answers. I didn't need to be taught anything because I already knew it all anyway. You know, but I like teachers. Some of the teachers enjoyed it because I was never spiteful. I was never horrible. I like to make people laugh. I like to have a joke. But again, I would like to push the boundaries as much as I can without overstepping them. Um, yeah. So like secondary school, even when I was younger, I used to hang about with all the older kids and stuff, smoking cigarettes and stuff with
uh,
all the ones who were about 5 years older than me. So
why was that? Why
I
why
did.
did
It
you
was
feel
just
like you
that
have to do
way.
that?
Like I didn't feel like I had to. It was just sort of the environments that I found myself in sometimes that I just sort of went to people who are a wee bit older,
Was
and
it like a
probably because I played up to it a wee bit, because
uh,
you know they thought it was funny, and I might have joked around with it a wee bit. But as I got older, um, I was just sort of somebody. I had always had close group of friends, and I wouldn't really jump from group to group in secondary school. You know, I kept friends that we would see each other every weekend. The guys would come around to my house every weekend, and that was the same sort of staple group from first to fifth year.
and
But
that was it Bangor you went to school as well?
yeah, I went to school in Bangor.
Like
Yeah,
primary school,
yeah,
everyone was all you grew up.
yeah. Well, I mean, so the guys that I'm mates with now, all the guys that work for me, we all sort of met when we were 16. So we went to different schools, but it wasn't until we got older that we all then fell into the same circles. But
Out
had
drinking, partying,
pretty much,
probably.
yeah,
Aye,
as it goes when you're
yeah,
16.
yeah.
So yeah, so Matty and Marky went to the same school. Daryl and Neil went to the same school, but I went to different school to the three of them. Like there was three different schools. But again, when we were all like 16, so Neil and Daryl used to have parties in our mate RJ's house, and then me, Matty, and Marky and stuff ended up going to these parties and stuff too. So it was just like fell into it that way. Uh, so that's sort of early days. A lot of street drinking and stuff when I was younger. I think that's probably why I don't drink as much as I'm older, because I done a lot of it from when I was 15 to,
Aye.
you know what I mean? Like
I think that's where we're different here. Like, is like we start like drinking
young,
and
yeah.
going out at like 15, 16.
I
So
mean,
by
I
the
couldn't have
time,
went out when I was 18. Like until I was 18, I couldn't get into bars.
oh
I
really?
looked so young.
So
Yeah.
did I. Aye. So did I.
Yeah.
That's funny you say that.
So I was, even with fake IDs, or like no chance. Even when I was
Really?
my own ID, there was a wee bit of,
Oh, serious?
yeah.
Aye.
But then when I turned 18 to like early 20s, I was out quite a lot. But again, I was always aware of what going on around me and stuff. I would never, but I think because I'd done it when I was young, I'd had enough of it. So I wasn't really a big party or anything in my early 20s. Went to Australia then when I was, 23 for 3 years. And I came home, went to Liverpool for the 3 years. And then that's when we started doing what we're doing now. So that's the lead up to that. Like,
So what? Like, take me through school a wee bit more. Like, what did you do? Like, what did you do in uni? First of all.
so I studied international business.
Okay.
Now,
Interesting.
so school wise, so when we done with GCSEs, I had to go back another year after my GCSEs to do my GMBQs. I was actually talking about this the other day. Didn't get enough GCSEs to go into A levels, purely because it was just an attention thing. I just didn't put the effort in. GMBQs, after GCSEs, everything we studied was business. It was the only thing I was really interested in. Okay. Nothing else subject wise in school interested me whatsoever. But business always did.
Were you able to study business in secondary school? Was that something?
It was
that
part
a
of
topic?
it, but it was a topic, but it wasn't. It's just only at GCSE level. So then
Yeah.
I done my GMBQ in business, done my A levels in business, HND in business, but I didn't finish it
Okay.
because at this stage I'm like, I want to work full time. I want a bit of money in my pocket.
Yeah.
I'd sort of been fed up with education, so didn't finish it, and then that's when I went to work full time, worked full time jobs for a few years, and then that's when I decided here wasn't for me. Go to Australia for something different, see what's what. It was quite a surreal moment. I can always remember it clear as day in my head. So Neil, who works for me now, he was one of our first friends to go to Australia, and he'd been there for about a year, and he was like, you need to come out. It's unbelievable. You need to experience this. So I was working in a call centre up in Belfast, and I remember really, really clearly the day going. One of the shifts he used to do was 8 to half 11. I remember standing at the Tesco petrol station beside my house on a wet, miserable day, putting petrol in my car, and thinking, I'm putting petrol in my car to drive me to a job that I hate doing. What is the reason? So after that day in work, I finished at half 11. I went to the STA Travel in Belfast. I was like, inquired about Australia, what I need to do, do your visa, book your flights. I think, right, no sweat. Went home, applied for the visa. Next day, booked the flights. Left like 3 months later.
Really? What age were you?
23.
23.
So 23 when I booked
Yeah.
it. Was 24 when I left.
And how long were you doing like full-time work there? How long were you in that job where you were just like,
mate, like from
this
I'd
is
say
not for me? Like,
between that job and the job I had before, I'd say it was maybe 3.5 years, 4 years, maybe full time work.
oh really?
And I
Oh,
just
was
thought,
that long?
Yeah. So I just thought, you know
And
what,
the
this
whole
would
time
be-
were you doing that? Were you just like, did you know deep down that you had something
I
to
think
give, or was it
think
like a
I've
slow
always known.
burn where you were like kind of analyzing
I
things
think-
and you were like, right,
Part of me's always known. I've always had that feeling that I don't want to work for somebody. I knew that I was always thinking of ways of what can I do? What do I enjoy doing? What is it other people need or want that I can provide because nobody else is going to do it. So I always knew that there was something there within me that would lead me to being my own boss. Now, never in a million years did I ever think it would have been a prize site. Like, but I looked at all sorts, like opening shops. Like, I was ever told you about the time I tried to be a barber?
no.
You'll love it. So when I was in the
Tell me.
farm in Australia, I used to cut boys' hairs with like a beard trimmer and stuff. I
Uh-huh.
used to do my own haircut and stuff like that. So I thought I could blag it as a barber, right? So
I don't know. What do you mean you just cut boys' hair just for the crack?
it would just like it's not hard to shave the sides, back and
Oh,
sides. of
whenever
somebody's
was
hair.
this whenever you were doing the
Liv-
farm
yeah,
work?
living
What do you
on a
mean?
farm,
Okay,
right?
that
So-
makes sense.
Even when I was in the hostel and stuff, like when there was decent barber and stuff anyway, I would still try to cut hair. Like,
Yeah.
and I thought, you know what, it's definitely something I could blag. So when I moved to Sydney after doing my farming, I thought I'm gonna just be a barber. No experience, never worked in a shop ever, and I'd landed this job by pure fluke, by the way. So this guy had just opened a brand new barber shop in King's Cross, like top end, like $100 haircuts. He owned a hair salon across the street, and he came in, he interviewed me. He didn't ask me to do any trials, no nothing. It was just, you look like you're a barber. I had my own scissors, like basically in a wee holster, clippers, good to go. So the guy didn't even challenge me. He was just like, yeah, all right, start tomorrow, no sweat. I was the only person in there, man. He opened up this brand new shop, and he has me, no qualified barber whatsoever. I thought, fuck, I'm in a bit deep here. So first guy came in, sat down in the seat. I says, oh yeah, what is it you're after? And luckily it was a really easy haircut. He sat down in the chair, he started cutting his hair. Midway through, I was like, fuck, I haven't put a cape on this guy. So he's covered.
Oh my God, are you serious? Mate.
So I cut his hair, and then my nerves started going. I was like, I can't do this. So the guy then
And your man didn't say here, mate,
he didn't think to stop me and say, here, what about all this hair on me? It wasn't until midway through I realised, and then put a cape on. I was like, I'm really sorry. So then the
first day,
yeah,
sorry.
the guy came in, and I just said, listen, mate, I'm gonna have to go. I was like, I'm not a barber, and he looked at me as if to say,
What?
fuck do you mean you're not a barber? I was like, yeah. So like I've always just tried to chance my arm and wrangle things. Like
Have you any other stories like that? Because you've told me, like, you've tried a few different things out before. I wanted to ask you that because obviously, like, probably that's your whole thing now. But I'm curious to know, like, what other kind of ventures you had or other ideas that you pursued that maybe were like you look back now and you're like, what was I thinking?
so if you ask any of my mates, they'll always tell you there's mad ideas that I've had, and like always wanted to do stupid things, but to me they didn't seem stupid, but it's funny. So Shando's wedding, Joe McColgan said to me, oh, I heard about one of your ideas. Now this is complete nonsense, by the way. So he goes to Palmer for his haircuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said to him, Palmer told him that one of my ideas was that I wanted to hire out like a big rental truck and have people fight in the back of the truck. Just complete lies. Like, and I said,
And Joe bought it.
Joe was
Idiot.
convinced that this was a real thing, and I'd said, so I text Palmer, I says, did you say this to him? He says, no. I told him about the rage room idea that you had years ago, which was basically I wanted to create a space where people could just go and smash shit up.
Uh-huh.
Like, even, put it in a big truck where you could drive to like call centers and people could go out in their breaks and just smash stuff. Like, basically there is rage rooms now anyway, it's a thing.
Uh-huh.
But somehow the wires had got crossed that I wanted this to become like a fight truck that people just fought in the back of the truck.
Well, it's funny you say that. Shane Todd was on the podcast last week. He was telling me that you actually, if you fall out with someone or someone's talking shit on your page, you'll actually buy their house and evict them from their house. That's actually
Is that another
apparently
rumor?
you're doing that. That's what
Yeah,
I heard.
you know what? That could be a real good start. I might do that. I don't think there would be enough houses to buy. To be honest, I don't think I would have enough money. The amount of shit that people talk.
Oh, there's got to be some other like mad business ventures that you've done in the past. Because
I've
you strike me. So I actually wanted to ask you, like, when you're in school, you strike me as someone that was probably the kid selling sweets.
It
Were you
wasn't
selling
sweets.
sweets?
I wasn't sweets. It was DVDs, DVDs, CDs, and cigarettes is what I used to do. So I go in. This was
Yeah,
like
I'm on the
cigarettes,
money
like
then.
£2 a packet or something like that. And the shop outside your school, like, I mean, you know you're already underage anyway, but you just go and buy 10 or 20 cigarettes and you just go into school and sell them 50p for a pound of cigarettes. So
Did people used to try Sharky?
no, never.
Never.
No, they
They
wanted
didn't mess with
cigarettes.
you?
No,
They didn't want to mess with the plug. Like,
and even when I can't tell you how tiny I was at that age. I don't know
Serious,
how I got
aye.
away with some of the shit that I would have got away with because I was just a wee squirt. You would have just been able to pick you up and throw away. But
and
it was-
nobody went and tried to steal all your cigarettes and your
No,
sweeties, no,
everybody
or
just-
no, your CDs.
yeah, not the CDs, but
I
no.
made that. There was a kid that used to sell sweets in my class, and I used to sit beside him in one of the classes, and I used to pickpocket friggin' Kit Kat bars out of his pockets. Like, I was a wee rat.
Were you?
No, I mean, it wasn't too bad, but
I can't
you know,
imagine what you would have
I'll
been
take a
like.
wee Kit Kat or two here. You know what I'm
mate,
saying?
Kit Kats, we were talking about it as well the other day. Kit Kat's an underrated bar. Like,
100%. Let's get into chocolate banana.
we were talking about chocolate earlier. I mean, I can't go down
can't
that
eat the
road.
chocolate
I'll
anymore.
not come out of that hole if I get into it.
Oh, that's brilliant. No, that's fantastic. We interrupt this episode to tell you about our amazing sponsor, the Record Room Hillsborough, where we are right now. The Record Room comes with all the equipment you need with multiple set options, whether you want to launch your own podcast or if your company needs to shoot its own marketing content. It is a one-stop shop for everything that you need. If this sounds like something that you need, use the booking link in the description, let yourself in, and hit record. Right, now I want to hear the full origin story of that prize guy. I want to
Okay.
hear the full thing.
It's so the reason I'd said about me being in Australia. So when I come back from Australia, I was like, my life had changed. So I have a daughter. Obviously, my daughter lives in Australia, and that was quite a mad situation that had put me into. My aim at the time, my objective at the time was never to come home. But then when my daughter was born, it changed my direction as to what I wanted to do. Initially, I went back to university to think that I want to get my degree to find a way to get back to live in Australia so I can be closer to my daughter.
Visa ran out? Is that what?
So the visa ran
3
out,
years,
yeah. So visa was done, and I wasn't able to go back. And I thought I need to do something for her future.
Mm-hmm.
University is the way to get me into doing something. So I knew that I had a lot to offer, and like at the time, I wasn't in a position that I could have went out on a whim and just started to do something because ultimately providing for her was the goal at the time. So 2 years in, studying again, prize guy was never even a thought or a consideration at the time. Last year uni. The last year I was living in Liverpool, but I met my partner and she was at home, and then I wanted to be at home a wee bit more. So I was back and forth between Liverpool and home, but I was working in a job in Bangor. So I was working in a phone store. Phone store was a franchise, and the guys that owned the franchise had sent me on a training course. It's such a weird coincidence. So on that training course was the brother of a guy who owned another prize site. Prize sites to me at the time was a completely unknown thing. So he told me about it. I was like, oh yeah, they do this for cars and whatever else. I thought, I could do something like that. I think something like that would be brilliant. Now, this was at the time where the cash call was massive. Do you remember the cash call used to be every single day? So when I was working in the phone shop, everybody used to come in every single day and be like, my phone bill's really high this month. It's because they'd text the end of the cash call 3 times a day, 5 days a week, throughout the month. That's why. And I started getting this idea that people that loved the idea of winning something for nothing. So then I coined that with what I'd learned with the guy doing from the guy's brother on the training course. So initially I was like, I could do it for dream holidays. Everybody wants a dream holiday, but they can't afford to go out and spend £5,000-10,000 on a dream holiday. So I just set the feelers out to see how to set this up and see what you needed to do legally, and spent a bit of time researching it. Didn't have a business plan, any of that. I just reached out for a web designer, a guy I went to school with, his brother, Brian. He taught himself web design. So he'd never done prize sites before. And I said, look, I have this idea. This is what I wanted to do. I see if he went, I wish I still had access to the old website. Because see from where it is to what it is now it's unbelievable. Even my old logo, everything was done really quickly. So there was no process behind it.
Was it always that prize guy?
It was always that prize guy. So there was a specific reason behind that prize guy. It was initially supposed to be the prize guy, but then the URL didn't exist. Somebody else had it. nobody uses it now anyway. But at the time, I couldn't get it. But the reason was that prize guy was because I was like, if I won something, or say, so for example, somebody won something, in my head, somebody says, where did you get that? I want it off that prize guy. And they're like, what is that? But it's exactly what it says it is. But that is, it's how we speak as well. Oh, sure, the prize guy, what do you call him? You know, like, so the prize guy became a person. And that was the thinking behind the actual name, is because it's so simple and it tells you exactly what it is. There's no other reason behind it. And the branding wasn't chose to that colour, but it was just what fit at the time. But the website was built, and I just thought, I'm just going to go all in on this. So the first month...
What age were you there?
What was I? 20, 30, 31?
And
No, hang on, what am I? 36.
Was this the year after you finished college?
So I was still in my final year.
This was your final year? Okay.
I was in my final year. I started it in November, and then started October, launched the website in November, and then we done our first prizes in November. Done November, December, and then lockdown. It was January, February or something. So that was the sort of the path that we were on.
So it was just, okay, so it was 2019 then?
Yes.
Okay, so it was just before lockdown.
Just before.
Okay,
before
I actually thought it was before that you started. I thought you were running longer.
Before, aye.
So COVID then was the catalyst?
It was make or break, really. So I think maybe a couple of months before, I can't remember when our first lockdown was, but...
would have been March 2020.
Would have been, maybe you're right, aye.
Yeah.
So we done, like, I mean, I wasn't making any money on the prizes. It was taking me a month to sell out, 2 prizes.
What were the first prizes?
First prizes, so I done a free giveaway to Prague. I done a trip to Venice and a Galgorm voucher on the website. That was the first month. I still remember all the winners because, surprisingly, I know them. They were all the ones backing me at the start, Next month was a pair of AirPods, an Xbox, and a TV. And then the main prize at Christmas was a Shark Hoover. The month after that,
you came a long way, man.
But I use it. So Christmas is my, like, where I make the milestone. So I always remember every Christmas prize. So first Christmas prize, Shark Hoover. Second Christmas prize, $3,000. Next Christmas prize, $30,000. Next one was 150 grand. Next one was $1 million. So that's your level. Where you go from that 150 to $1 million. So I just, that year from Christmas to Christmas, from the 150 to the $1 million. So it would have been like 150 at Christmas, 200 January, 250, 300, 350, 300, 500, 750, $1 million. So I used each one to gauge to where it would get to. So what are we on now? 5.5 years. 135 million pounds worth of prizes.
And your 8th millionaire, is that right?
8
coming
millionaires,
up
9
this
coming
month?
up.
Oh, they just done 8, that's
just
right.
Done 8, yeah. Just done 8 last Sunday.
Because you just done 8 and then you were like, well, we just do another millionaire right away. And
I'm going to do 10.
Like, yes,
I'll do 10 and I'll call it quits on the £1 million prizes.
Yeah, you want to change up the business model a little bit?
So the aim is now that every month I'll do like a groundbreaking prize that we've never done before and we'll never do it again. So
something that's new territory, something that's exciting.
And look, I'm not downplaying the fact that £1 million prize is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But 10 times is stale. And it goes a wee bit boring. Like even chatting to somebody like, oh, another million. Everybody wants to win it and it's great.
So boring, like.
Yeah, which is crazy. It's such a crazy concept. But I think that if I can mix up the prize to be like, something or £1 million,
yeah,
it could be, 2 houses and set up for life, like, a set for life prize, or you take £1 million cash. That's entirely up to you. But I want to do it that way.
Is there anything that you're thinking about right now that you can tell us that's like a future prize? Maybe it's a year's time, it's 2 years' time.
The prize at Christmas before we lost the Facebook page was supposed to be a house here, a house in Spain, $10,000 a month for like 3 or 5 years or something. It was basically like a set for life prize. It was going to blow the socks off everybody. But then we lost the Facebook page. I was like, can't do it now. We done it, try to do... If that Facebook page is like a fail-safe for us. Your audience is massive. We can throw out something. Our reach and the interaction on that is crazy. It's better than email marketing. It's better than text marketing. It's right there. It's in your face. Like we have 400,000 customers. There's 245,000 on the Facebook page.
Serious.
And that's gets the most traction, So, I think there's nothing really on the top of my head. When it comes to the big prizes, I'm quite impulsive. I'll just be like, right, I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Like that £1 million, I'd said to the lads about it, and they were like mulling it over, being like, oh, let's sit on it. I'm like, nope, it's out. It's too late, it's up. Like, it's gone. Yeah. So There
So-
isn't. Sorry, go ahead.
So I'm curious to know like how you've separated yourself so far from the pack when it comes to other prize Like I have my own thesis on it, but I'm curious to know like your thoughts. Why have you? There's so many people doing this.
Mhm.
Every area, there's a prize competition now. Like there really is. UK and Ireland, there's so many. Like, but I feel like you've definitely separated yourself from the pack. Like, what's that down to?
I think there's a couple of different things. So we built a really good community based on being real. Like I'm not out there trying to push it down anybody's throat. We're either for you or we're not. And I get it. Like I know there's a load. We were in there. There was a couple before us that are still around now, but I think we've surpassed everybody based on a lot. Like a good part of it is taking the risk on prizes. Some of them are afraid to take the risk. The people aren't stupid. That they can see the tickets and they can see it out there, but they want to know that you're prepared to risk too. Playing safe doesn't benefit anybody. Nobody cares. So at one stage, like a 20 grand prize was huge. Not a lot of people do it. Now sites are doing 20 grand or 30 grand, 50 grand. Yeah. You'll be hard pressed to find a lot that are doing the value of prizes that we do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So like this week, we've done 60, 45, 70, 100, 200. That's the main cash prizes.
Just this week?
That'll just be this week. Yeah, by the end of the week. So the week of the million, we done £2.2 million worth of prizes in that 1 week.
Unbelievable.
So we've always been prepared to take that.
Yeah.
And I don't care whether a prize wins or loses because it's what you get out of it. For example, the £1 million, people look at it and be like, oh, you made X amount. Some guy was like, you made £1 million. I lost money on the £1 million.
Yeah.
But what you get out of somebody winning £1 million is worth more in advertising than anything else. So
interesting.
That's
so
the way
that's you're willing to take them risks.
Yeah. So like I think the fact that we are real people, we give a load back. It's not about money and what's made for us. I think people bought into us as people and see what we do for individuals, charities, all sorts. And that's definitely helped us get to where it's been. Like even I said it before to somebody else, like even in my very, very first couple of months, I'd started the page itself in October. The first prizes was November. That Christmas, I had a couple thousand followers on the page. I used that platform to try to help other people, doing stuff for like fundraising on toys and stuff and dishing them out.
Yeah.
Now we do like I've always, as I've got bigger, I haven't forgot that that's been a part of my whole journey. So we do loads and loads, and some of the stuff we're able to do for people now is unbelievable. Like,
unbelievable.
So I think that's that. I think that is a large part of it. I think a lot of it's tongue in cheek. Some of the stuff we say and how we speak back to people, like, it's people think that, oh, you're a business, you have to act a certain way. Bollocks. Like,
my bollocks.
If you speak to me a certain way, I'm going to speak back. Like, and then people say, oh, you shouldn't say that. Why not? Why am I not allowed to defend myself because you said something? Like that's not how the world works. You can't just say what you want to say and not allow me to have an opinion. It's not a reaction or a bite. It's me telling you, no, sorry, you're actually wrong because I'm right, and this is why.
And it's your company. You've no stockholders.
Yeah.
You know this or that can tell you what to do. Essentially.
Yeah.
So
I want
like,
to know your thesis on
that was my thesis on why you have become so successful and how you've separated your pack is because you've spent so many years giving without expectation of return, and I think that is just one of the highest values you can hold in life, and I think you embody that truly in all of the things that you do. And I think that now you're just getting that compound effect, like the last whatever year and a half that you have completely blown up through the stratosphere, is the compound of that value of giving without expectation of return. And all these people that you've helped out, there's so many people that you've helped out that people have no idea about. And I think that the universe just has certain rules, and I think that if you give without expectation of return, you're rewarded for it. And that is why I think you've completely went to a new stratosphere, and that's a credit to you personally because you've built the company, you've built the culture, and you've brought your whole team along with you. And I think that is the second point of my thesis is because you've brought your team, your guys on, your mates. You've obviously, yous are very close, and you've maintained that. But what yous are able to do with that from a marketing standpoint, because yous are so close, you have like this different niche of marketing / banter where I guess you call it marketing, but yous have such a good relationship that that your customers can tell that it basically is five mates running a company.
Yeah.
But the way that you market it is like it's not down your throat. It's like you taking a hand out of each other.
Right.
So people invest into that. They feel a connection to your story, and they go, why wouldn't we buy from this guy? You know, look what they're giving back, first of all, but look how this is being run. Like, if I'm buying a prize, I want to buy it from this
Because
company.
it's not that serious. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, and that's the way we play it. Like, I am very blessed that I have these guys now, and it was always a part. Like, I always knew that I would need somebody along the way. So, Neil was first in. Neil was working at the time, and then in the evenings and stuff, he was starting to help me out, like doing deliveries of prizes. That's where he came in. That's just how Neil got his foot in the door. So he was out delivering hot tubs and all sorts of stuff to people's houses.
Hot dogs.
Hot tubs. Yeah, I wish it was hot dogs. Be at my door every night. So he started that way, and then I'd said, look, I need you to come in full time. So he made the decision, and at the time it was quite daunting. Neil will tell you as well. I remember I showed up to Neil's house one day and was like, look, I have this idea that I want to sell suits. That was before all this.
Another one.
Yeah, another one of the
Another
ideas. And he's
one.
like, what are you talking about? I was like, look, I can get all these suits from fucking Turkey and we can sell them and market them as the best suits. He's like, okay, mate. He's like, Sophie, get him out of the house. So then when I'd said to him about this job, he was like, I think he sort of then started to realise that there was a lot of people didn't take me serious, like even people close to me at the time. And I knew every day from the start, I was all in on this every single day. And we know that you have to be successful. But because this was such a strange thing, it was sort of, it was such a benign thing to people where they were like, I don't really see it. But as time went by, people were like, fuck me. Like, there's traction here. Like, and I was doing stuff that nobody else was doing. So Neil, when it was the time to make that decision to coming in, it was still a big risk for him because, anything can change at any stage. Like, the rug can get pulled from under you where the going isn't always good. So he needed a change in his life in terms of like a better work-life balance with his missus and his kids and just a bit more happiness and a wee bit more freedom. So then Neil made that decision. He came along. Me and Neil, for a large part, we'd be working in my house. We'd be just sitting in my living room watching films, just talking about prizes. Me just living a good life for a while. And his missus would be like, oh, all you do is watch films and go for lunch. But I needed that extra pair of hands at that time. Yes, it may have felt like there wasn't a lot going on. There wasn't, but there was still a lot going on, which is mad because it was always busy somewhere. We were talking about this yesterday. We used to put prizes on, when it was me and Neil, we used to put prizes on today for tomorrow. They would sell out. Now, I'm not allowed to do that anymore because the process is prizes need to be on for a certain amount of time. But every single day, that's how our day looked. We would do today's prizes, and then once they were done, put on tomorrow's prizes, then they were done. It was just
Really?
the same circle.
That's mad.
Yeah. So we did still have other prizes on the website, like bigger prizes, but we would do every day.
That's a quick turnaround. Like, that's a lot of work.
So every day, 250, 500, 750, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and some vouchers.
Yeah.
That was the prizes. Now, bear in mind, at the time, when I was me, I was 2 prizes a month. And then you went to the stage where...
So this was 2020 when you hired him for the first time?
Neil came in. Neil's probably been there 2 years, two and a half years now. So I was on my own. Basically, for the first 2.5 years.
First 2.5 years
First
was
2.5,
all
3
you.
years was all me.
You must have been working like 14-hour days. Like,
Mate, like I'd seen...
Like, to do that turnaround, like, this is the thing. People see the success now. It's the same with every industry.
My process never changed. See, from wake up to bedtime, every day was the same thing. I went on holidays to Ibiza. I was in Marbella. Like, people will tell you that I was still doing prize draws. Like, I've got to go out here and do my draws. Second days off, because I knew that I needed to be doing stuff every day. As it grew, I needed to be doing prizes every day. Otherwise, people would go somewhere else. Yeah. So I've seen me doing prizes after 3 days in Ibiza on the day and then going to Ocean Beach. Like, oh, lads, I'll catch up with you because I've got to do these draws. Yeah. Even on holiday with AJ and Dylan and stuff, we used to go to Marbella every summer. And they'd be down by the pool, and I'll be like, right here, I need to go back up and do some draws. Like, do not take time off. Like, it's not constant, but I need to keep it consistent. Yeah. So that was how it was built that way. Neil came in, again, extra pair of hands then was needed. He'd been in for about a year, and my sister and Daryl started, and things just started to really ramp up. Yeah. The prizes were just churning and churning. Yeah. But I knew that I needed to set the foundations of having a solid team behind me that I could progress it. Like, it needed. Otherwise, look, things can go stale. Like, even our prizes and stuff, it's freshness is key. Like, people get sick of seeing the same stuff. Yeah. So we can do the basics that everybody relates to: football tickets, cash prizes, some cars, instant win prizes and stuff. But there needs to be something in there that really piques people's interest.
Yeah. How was that for you whenever you started bringing people on? How was it like delegating certain tasks? That must have been a difficult thing for somebody who's went from working 14-hour days all day, putting out X amount of
Mm.
prizes per day, just having to be go, go, go,
Yeah.
go, and then building it to a certain level where you're like if I'm gonna grow here, I need to start delegating. How was that for you?
I think it was a process, like a learning process, big learning process for me. Like, I don't ever want to be somebody's boss where I'm, barking at them and telling them what's what. Everything that I've built is teachable to the people who are willing to listen. I'm really lucky that all the lads and my sister, they've all bought into the business. They're a big part of it. And it's very much a case of, as the business grows, we all grow together. Like, if I win, the business wins, we all win. I got to, like that. And that's what I wanted. Giving them a better work-life balance and creating happiness for them allowed them a better understanding of how I expect things to be done. So they know me. We've had a few teething issues where I maybe lost the plot and probably reacted. Like, I could have been quite hot headed. I'll lose my shit first and then deal with the problem, and then that's it, done and dusted. But then then Matty and Marky came in as well. So then I have a bigger team, and I have to then realize that everybody responds and reacts in different ways and needs to be spoke to sort of slightly different, and which is completely fine. But I think when each time, like, there was like a small shift in the dynamic where you need to alter some things, but it's once you get over that initial, like any issues you have, once you get over those initial bumps and everybody is aware of what's expected of them and how things are done, it works brilliantly. Like, I've had to change my approach. Like, I can't be as angry as what I used to do, and but the only thing is, I've always said them, like, we were friends first, so they always have had the ability to challenge me as in the same way. So, like, if I've done something that offends or upsets them, they know that they can also speak to me and say, look, that's not right, or I disagree, which is massively important. And now we're in a position where we need more people. And I said this on Reese's podcast that I need more staff. Fuck, the amount of messages I got. I hear you're looking at a job. Like, but for me, it's, I need the people that I want to have. The people I need people close to me. And everyone's like, you can't always work with your friends. I absolutely can't. I built a business with people who are like sales backgrounds. Marky was a mortgage advisor, Daryl's civil service, my sister civil service, Matty communications. Do you know what I mean? Like, so everybody has a completely different background. This industry itself is such a weird thing. Like, I'm not spending huge amount of money on marketing. I don't need marketing experts, or what the lads will joke saying we need an HR department because of how I behave sometimes, like, towards them. I'm HR, so if you have any complaints, you come to me.
Hi,
So
speak to HR.
yeah.
It's HR here.
Yeah, so that's it. And like, it's hard because you probably should have to go outside of the box sometimes, but I don't want to. Like, we went to New York obviously for the PFL thing. I was basically on a holiday with my best friends, and that's something I want to always continue to have. And as we grow and do things, I want them to do it. I don't want them to be sitting on a grind for 8 to 9 every day, like 8 hours, 9 hours a day in a job they hate. For me, it feels like they love the job. It's because they're respected, they're treated with value, and they benefit as the business benefits. It's not about me. And they get a lot out of it outside of just like financially and actually in the job itself. The job brings a lot of satisfaction. Like, the boys went up and done a bit of charity work and stuff on Monday, and it gives them a bit of a realization too on different things that are out there, and a bit more of appreciation on other things in their life. But yeah, there's so much more to it than just that. Like, it's how rewarding is it to sit with somebody who's just won £1 million? Like, Matty and Neil, they get the benefits of doing the draws and calling the winners and experiencing that, having that connection firsthand with somebody who's just won something that could change their life. Like, it's unbelievable, mate.
I
There's no
really
feeling
like the last video he's done from the last Millionaire. Like, they're always real tear jerkers. Like, they're always amazing.
I mixed it up with that one because we've done them. All the other ones are great and set in a certain way, but I had this idea of him just being so focused on the winner himself. He just sits down on the sofa, cameras pointed at him, introduce yourself, tell us why you're here. And it's class. It was unbelievable. Like, his story, how Glenn spoke about his mum and stuff, and saying that, how much he owes her, and saying that £1 million is going to be able to help him support her and do everything. I mean, it was unbelievable. And they are emotional. And I've cried my eyes out at some of them, like when they came and sat. One of the last millionaires, she was homeless and living in temporary accommodation at Christmas, and she sat with her daughter on the sofa, and we send the money, and you see her daughter seeing it, and her daughter gets emotional, and the mum gets emotional, and I get emotional.
I can do it.
Bro, it's unbelievable. Like, you need to, like, to experience it is unbelievable. Like, it's my equivalent of walking out to fight camp, like on a fight night.
Mate, it's such an interesting thing to be able to live that experience over and over, because like how many people have lived in the world have got the experience that, like, that constant, like,
Yeah.
I'm changing your life, I'm changing your life, I'm changing your life, like how, like, I'm sure it doesn't get old.
It really doesn't get old, and it was a part that I never expected. It's a part, even when I first started all this up, it's something I overlooked. I didn't consider it. The best part of actually ringing somebody to tell them that they've won something. Some of the stories I have of winners, like, I was never a big believer in everything happens for a reason. Like, I was not, but the more and more people that I've came across and stories that I've came across from this, I'm like, shit does happen for a reason. One of the very first moments of that was, I think it was my first 25 or 20,000 pound prize, and I was sitting in my partner's dining room, and I used to I do still record the calls, but I'd phoned this. Even I'll talk you through the process of the draw. So the prize didn't sell out, and even so, sometimes if the prize doesn't sell out, some of the numbers aren't assigned. So the first number out, nobody had it, and then you just click it again, so it'll go from one number, but usually jumps like up or down a huge amount of numbers away from the number you're on. Just, I've never seen it tick just 2 numbers. So this one jumped 2 numbers, and I went down to a name on the list, and you could see it was blank on the spreadsheet above and below, and it went to this name. So I phoned. The phone rang out for ages, and I can't remember the lady's name, but just say for talk's sake, her name was Sarah. Somebody answered the phone, and I said, "Hi, is that Sarah?" Voice on the other end of the phone says no. And I said, "Is Sarah available?" And I could hear a bit of commotion in the background that Sarah was there. I said, "Look, I'm just going to let you know that she's going to want to speak to me if she is there." So the phone was passed. You could hear the passing of the phone. And she said, "Hello," a bit of a broken voice. I said, "Sarah, this is Paul calling from the prize guy." He says, "Did you enter a competition for today?" She says, "Yeah." I says, "Do you know what it was for?" She says, "Yeah, it was for 20,000 or 25,000. It was one of those 2 numbers." And I says, "You've won it." Now I'm still recording a phone call at this stage, and you can hear the voice break, like, speechless. And she was like, "Oh my God." And I could tell that something was off, so I stopped recording the phone call. And she was like, "I've just been diagnosed with cancer." She says, "I'm sitting here talking to my sister. I've just been diagnosed with cancer. My husband has left me, and I'm with my kids, and I haven't seen him." Now, she's telling me this all on the phone. I thought, fucking hell. I said, and she says, I was going to lose my house. So I was like, right, okay, listen. I says, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around tomorrow. I'm going to come and see you. So the next day, I'd stopped at a shop, bought a bunch of flowers, drove to her house, and she invited me in. Her and her sister were still there. Sat chatting to her for about an hour. She was a nurse. She was going to have to give up her job to get cancer treatment because she couldn't afford the payments on the house. She won that money. Didn't need to give up her job, or didn't need to sacrifice the house because everything was secure because she'd won that money. She was meant to win that money. Like, now, mate, there's been so many more stories, and I can't remember a lot of them off the top of my head, but that one will always stick with me for the rest of my life because the way it jumped. I'm saying, like, say for example, the first number, it starts in 10,000. If you hit it again, it'll go thousands, tens of thousands away from that number. It never goes up 1 or 2. It's so rare that I've ever seen that happen, and that was only the one of the times. And that's the person who won it.
That's unbelievable.
There's
like, I actually felt emotional when you were saying that.
Class,
to be honest, like, that is
like
the power that has is just out of this world. Like, I actually have goosebumps. Like, when you were telling that there.
There's loads of stories, man. There's loads, and you know that millionaire, like the guy, one of the other millionaires recently. He'd never bought tickets with us before, and he said he went on the website to buy 4 tickets, and he's in the discount on 5. So he thought, I'll buy 5 tickets. It was the 5th ticket that won. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many wee things that come along. You're like, fuck, that's unbelievable. Like, it's class.
We are proudly sponsored by That Prize Guy, the #1 prize competition in all of UK and Ireland. They've given away over 130 million in prizes so far. That Prize Guy has made 8 millionaires already, with number 9 pending. For your chance to be a winner, head on over to thatprizeguy.co.uk. So, like, all these sorts of experiences that you're having, like that, like life changing, is that your drive is that one of your drives when it comes to this company? And like, what is it like now? Like you've been doing very, very well for a long time now. You could say you could probably retire. You could probably retire right now. I know you have a lot that you want
Yeah,
to
well,
do, but you're probably in a position. Like, what's your why now? What's driving you now?
mate, I don't think I've achieved half of what I'm capable of achieving. That's why I think that, we've just moved into a new unit. We have a really strong team. Now this is only the foundations. I would be so bored, man. I would be so bored. I like to push myself and see, right, okay, well, what can I do next? What other avenues is there? I just want to know that when it's all said and done, I can look back and think, I give it everything. I've achieved what I know I'm capable of achieving. And that is it. Like, the drive in business is the business that I'm doing is to be the best. We are, but it's maintaining that. And that's what gets me out of bed every day. Like, I could sit and just let it all take over and let the lads run stuff, but I have zero interest in that. Like, I've built something that's a monster. I always get asked, like, would you sell it? It would take a figure that you can't even comprehend for me to want to give that up. Not because I want the money, but it's just, like, what else? Who can sit back and think, I've built this brand that is known massively? Not even just about me as a person. The brand is huge, and it's everywhere, and it's in your face, and everybody knows it. There's not many people can sit back and think, "Fuck, I done that." You know what I mean? So, yeah, just maintaining that level of, I want to achieve everything that I know that I can. Like, this business has put me in a really good position. It's put my kids in a great position, my friends, my family. But I know that there's more to be done. And that's it. Like, money, I think a large part of this was, like, money was not the MO. Everything I made was put back into the business to be able to grow the business. The money may come along with it, and yes, I'm very fortunate. I can go on nice holidays or I drive nice cars, but that's through work too. I don't give a shit about anything. I'm not materialistic. Money is just not what it's about. So I think that's why the success comes first, is because I'm not chasing money. Like, and I just, now that I'm in a position that, yes, I've made money, but that money is there to be able to be like, right, okay, well, what can we do next? How can we put that back in?
But as I said to you earlier, like, it's because you've given so much throughout the years. I think that's why now you're just having this big blow up, and it will continue. Like,
I think so.
What do you foresee, like, in the next, say, 3 years for that prize guy?
I've touched on it briefly. Like, I mean, mate, I have all sorts of
Because
hairpin
you have
ideas.
big plans.
Yeah,
That's
like,
that we relate very much in a way where we don't set limits.
I think there's so much. Look, I would ideally like to be involved in some sort of promotion outside of as a sponsor. Heavily involved in MMA, I would imagine, is the direction that I would like to go. I would like to put on shows, run shows. Like, I would love to be part of that. If there's ideas I have of my own channels, like I've spoke to you before about a TV channel, I want it all, man. I want it all. I don't want to give too much away, because
Of course.
some people listen to it and be like, this guy's full of shit. Like, but in the back of my head, I know that you throw enough shit, something sticks. And I know that there's stuff in there that I'm capable of achieving and want to do. The prize guy has a massive audience now that we can push so much other stuff out there to people, and that is what I want to do. Genuinely, I do think my heart is set on being involved on a bigger scale of either owning or being invested into an MMA promotion.
Where did that come from? Where did your combat sports
Yeah, you said
love
that to
come
me, and
from?
do you know what, mate? Like, I was never big at, like, I always watched bits and stuff. I became fond of MMA more so when I lived in Australia, because the timings and stuff of it.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was
mate,
on more than
great
football,
timing.
so
Sunday
it's, mate, you can't beat
afternoon.
it. Sunday
Oh,
afternoon,
so good.
like,
Few
we
pints.
got to watch some great fights. Before Australia, I would have been heavily, like, big football fan. But then whenever I lived in Australia, the football times are different. It was a ball ache. Like, now I still am a football fan, but that's sort of where the interest in watching MMA came. Always enjoyed boxing. I wouldn't say like I'm a diehard know-it-all fan. Like, I just enjoy combat sports. Then during lockdown, started to do a bit with Troy in his garden, and then got introduced to more people. It's the people that I've met has what's led me to enjoy it. So, through Troy, I met you, I met Shando, Pat, I met other people.
Bunch of mad bastards,
Yeah,
every one of them.
crazy. But
Me
do you know what it
included.
is, bro? Like, they're the best people. And I find that every person that I meet along the way, I share so much in common with, and everybody's respectful. There's no egos, regardless of what you guys are capable of. Like, there's none of that. Like, and such a rare kind of person, like personality wise, and you all share. You all may be mental in your own right, but you all share the same common values of what's achievable, how to treat people, and it's more so those relationships that I've came across as what's wanted me to stay within the sport. So obviously, the small bits that I do with the people that I meet along the way, like these guys they're giving their life to try to achieve greatness. How can you not respect that? Like how can you not want to be around people that make you thrive and feel like, yeah, like that's why I enjoy it. Plus the actual show aspect of it, like to be able to see something from start to finish and seeing everybody out there enjoying something you've put on and you're responsible for. That's what I enjoy. Like that's
Events.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
like,
you could see yourself going down the space of events.
And even when we were growing up, I always find that I was the one organising shit. I was always the one that wanted to put people together because it's the class. Like you want to, like people experience something because what you've put into it. There's so much fulfillment within that. So I know that if I had the right people around me in the right direction, I could put something like an unbelievable spectacle on out there. Like, because I've said to you many times before that I'm not chasing it from a financial perspective. I make my money and doing the other things that I do. If you come from things in any line of work, I don't care what it is. I think if your main aim isn't money and you're doing it for passion and love, you're going to be successful. You can't not be.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man, watch me. 5 years, 3 years, 3 to 5 years. I'd say I'm in the door and I'm putting shows on.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Right, I have a couple of quick fire questions.
Go for it.
They don't have to be quick fire. You can
All
answer
right.
them quick fire if you like. I have a few in my head. First question. Best piece of business advice you've ever received?
Don't listen to anybody. Trust yourself.
Love it. Love it.
Telling you, mate, the people I hold closest to me, nearest and dearest, would have said to me, "What the fuck are you doing?
Yep.
That's never going to work."
Same.
Trust yourself.
Worst piece of business advice you've ever received?
Don't do that. It's simple. Like
Can't be done.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's not going to work. That's again, like people. I'm quite lucky that it's not that people give me business advice. I don't think there's not a lot of people that have been around who would be in a position to offer me the right advice.
Mm. It's so niche. You've carved your own path now.
Like at our age, my age, obviously I'm significantly older than you. Like, we weren't, when I was doing this, I wasn't around a lot of people who would have been in a position to say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," because they weren't doing anything differently. So not that I would take advice and think, "What are you talking about?" But there was just nobody who's already achieved something to be able to be in a position to say, "Listen, I don't think you should do that." But there's bad advice constantly now.
Love it.
Yeah. So
right, if you had a billboard and you could show this billboard to every single person in the world, what would you say to them, or what would be on that billboard? Is there a quote that you live your life by? Is it something you think that everybody should know? Is there anything that comes to mind?
One of my favorite quotes came from my granny is nothing worth having comes easily, and that is it. Like, would I show that to everybody? Everybody should know that anyway. Another one is just that's it. That is what I would put out there.
I think it's always the first one that comes to mind.
There's no point in me trying to go around other ways. That is it.
I love it.
It's from my granny. Yeah.
Last one of the day. Best moment of your life so far?
I can't talk about it because I'll cry. My eyes are going. I touched on this on Reese's podcast, and I'm going to try to get through it without getting emotional. I've had so many good moments in life, more so recently than ever. So, standing in my house that I just bought with my son in my arms, his future secured. That's it. Fuck. Every time. Cannot hold it back. That is my proudest moment.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that.
Appreciate that.
I take
honestly, mate, I can't do it any time that I talk about it.
It's a beautiful thing, mate. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to work so hard and to the people you love the most, to have them secure. It's something that I'm working so hard for myself, and I hope that one day I can do the same thing. And
And you will, mate. And you,
congratulations
I
to you.
appreciate that. I appreciate it. I don't appreciate the fact that oh, it
Zoom in
gets
there,
me.
Roscoe.
No, don't. No,
Zoom
we're
in there,
alright.
double, triple zoom.
But no, look, it's just that initial trying to get it out. But I've worked so hard, and like people are like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and I always knew what my direction was. And in that moment of going to pick up those keys and hold him walking through that door, like that is 100%. Like that's the best day of my life. Standing there, that knowing that no matter what happens tomorrow, this is sweet. We're sorted. He's sorted. Like my daughter, she's sorted. Everybody, I wanted to set things in place for everybody else first, before me. So it's done. It's dusted. From that respect, but from a business perspective, we're only starting. So yeah, that's it, bro.
Let's fucking go.
Let's
Well,
go.
I appreciate it, brother.
100%.
I really enjoyed that conversation.
You're sick, bro.
I hope you enjoyed listening. Plenty more where that came from. If you're enjoying it, please like and subscribe, turn the notifications on, all that fun stuff. But plenty more to come. I'm absolutely loving this so far. I hope you are enjoying what we're doing. I hope you like the set. Shout out to Roscoe and Justin for absolutely smashing it. But that concludes our episode for today, and we'll see you at the next one. That was sick, bro. Love that.
Sick, bro.
Love that. Fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Fantastic.